I have a confession to make. There is a reoccurring theme in the Bible that I don't think I properly understand. Actually, there's probably more than one of those. But today I'm particularly thinking about agriculture and gardening. Because so many of God's people in Israel through the Old Testament and the New would have been involved in growing and harvesting, it's a metaphor that's used time and again, both in the New Testament by Jesus and Paul and in the Old Testament by prophets like Ezekiel. And I am whatever the opposite of green-fingered is. I can kill just about any plant by being near it. The only thing I'm good for in the garden is cutting things down and digging things up. And yet I even failed at that this summer. I tried to cut down a tree in our garden, but sadly it defeated me. I got my saw through about a third of the way of the trunk and then I couldn't move it anymore. The weight of the tree wouldn't allow me to cut it down, so the tree is still there. One of the things that John said as he talked to us about Ezekiel 15 in our church service on Sunday this week was that we need to make sure that the pruning shears are in God's hands. Again, that metaphor of gardening, growing, of agriculture. Imagine, if you will, that your life is like a rose bush that has been left to its own devices. A good gardener might come to it and see that there are some dead bits that need cutting away, some bits that have grown off in strange directions that need to be reined in, taking up too much of the bush's energy and resources. Maybe there are a few too many thorns as well. But then there's a whole load of really beautiful flowers that need to be shown off. There are buds almost ready to bloom that need to be nurtured. The rosebush just needs a good prune by someone who knows what they're doing, someone with a plan who can see the big picture, by a good gardener, as opposed to someone like me who wouldn't have a clue where to start. Of course, if that's our life, we are sometimes quite attached to those things that need cutting out. There are behaviours and habits that might not be godly or good, but that have been with us for some time. There are ways of relating to people, ways that we react and respond, that have become part of who we are. There are ambitions and desires that we have for ourselves that may not be from God. There are deeply held beliefs that are not godly. And it's painful to cut these things out. And the truth is that when it comes to our lives, you and I are bad gardeners. We do not have the wisdom and the foresight and the knowledge to do the pruning properly. We might keep things that really need to die, and we might cut things out that God wants to see bloom. There's another metaphor in the Bible that conveys a similar thing. Jeremiah, who was writing about the same time as Ezekiel, some 600 years before Jesus, used this one. It's of a potter with clay. The potter forms and shapes the clay, and if it becomes marred, he simply reshapes it as he will. If clay becomes hard, though, it can't be shaped anymore. We need to avoid becoming set in our ways and hard of heart, unwilling to change, so that we can continually be shaped. Maybe that's a metaphor I don't understand very well either. We should be ready to be pruned and shaped. Even though that process may be painful, we should take joy in it, as we are formed to be more like God created us to be, more like He intends us to be, more human, more like Jesus. I wonder when the last time was that you allowed God to reshape or cut something out of your life. I wonder when the last time was that you saw something new, nurtured and shaped into growth. When did you last change your mind? Challenge for you this week is to give God the pruning shears. Let His hands shape the clay.